First thing out the gate that I was thinking of that we could talk about is kind of in the Saturday morning cartoon world.
You had to wait for the cartoons to come on. It's a whole different world. You waited for the scheduled time to come on. You missed it. You missed it.
It's the theme song. Oh my God. I wanted to sing that.
Expand.
That was for what? Super Nintendo?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was for Super Nintendo. You plugged it into the game, and then you plugged it up to the phone line.
Talking about fads of fashion. In middle school, a brand name of pants that was like way too rich for us.
I know what it is.
What do you think it is?
This is the Welcome Distraction Podcast with the Kemp Brothers. Their immature stories, advice, and opinions are their own and should be taken with the same level of seriousness as a drunk uncle's late-night conspiracy theory. Now buckle up, buttercups. It's about to get weird.
Okay, here we are back at the Welcome Distraction Podcast, episode 4, gentlemen. We've got Christopher, my clone from the same mother.
Here I am.
And Nicholas, the younger brother.
Better looking.
We're back at it. So we're going to dive right into this stuff. We're not wasting your time. Today, we're kind of doing a little bit of a throwback episode. We wanted to talk about some nostalgia, some other things, and we'll just kind of go with where the story takes us, you know? So first thing out the gate that I was thinking of that we could talk about is kind of in the Saturday morning cartoon world.
After these messages, we'll be right back. Yeah.
And it doesn't have to be Saturday morning cartoons. I know we watch the shit out of cartoons we got out of school every day. And as soon as I say that, Ninja Turtles pops into my head.
But a lot of people don't realize you had to wait for the cartoons to come on now.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world. You waited for the scheduled time to come on. You missed it. You missed it. And that was
And if
it.
you missed the theme song, oh my God, I wanted to sing that. It's been in my head all day.
Well, remember the preview before like the school year would start too? They'd show you what's coming on for that next season of Saturday cartoons. Yeah, what a different world it is now. Everything's in demand.
The little preview show. Yeah.
I remember every morning before school was DuckTales.
Yeah.
Woo! Mm-hmm. Love that show.
Yeah, there's a lot of theme songs that I think we know that we don't know. You know, you start singing the words when you hear it, but other than that, I'm like, I don't really know it. And then it comes on, and you're like singing along with it. I know Nicholas knows quite a few of them.
Okay, so first, Nicholas, which ones do you remember? What's kind of your go-to that you remember from afternoon or morning ones that stick out in your mind? We'll say, top 3 or 5 that you can rattle off out of your brain.
So maybe not as popular. Middle school, when I was getting out of school, it was a lot later. No, wait, let me back up. It was still elementary school. You guys were in middle school. I was getting out before you guys. And
Looked like we were in elementary school.
Yeah. So it was like an hour and a half I would have to myself, and Tailspin was on. That was the one with Baloo. You can win it in a minute when you spin it, spin it, spin it. He was a bear and he flew a plane, and he had his little sidekick Kit.
I hated that.
That was kind of like a spin-off of, I think, the Jungle Book.
Jungle Book.
But Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. We already mentioned Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Saturdays for me, not necessarily a cartoon, but Saved by the Bell. When I wake up in the morning and the alarm gets out of warning, I don't think I'll ever make it on time. That was a big one. I remember when we first saw previews of that coming out, we're like, oh my God, what is that? And of course, everybody had a crush on Kelly Kapowski.
So cartoons were like the first thing in the morning, right? You'd have a couple different shows come on in the early afternoon. That's when like Saved by the Bell would start coming. They start rolling into the kind of little bit older shows. Man, how it's changed now.
Yeah, it would be like the live action stuff that kind of came on. So it was a little bit different then. I remember that, and everybody was, I think back in the day though, Saved by the Bell was, what was it called? It was called Good Morning something. What was her name?
Mrs. Bliss?
Yeah, that's it. Good Morning, Miss Bliss. And it had like kind of a different cast. Some of it was in there. What's his name?
Mr. Belding.
Mark Paul Gosselaar was still Zach Morris, and then there was a couple of other.
But then Screech was there.
I think NBC picked it up for the big thing. Yep, Screech was in it, and then it had the other ones in it, Dustin Diamond, and then it brought in Slater, Mario Lopez, Tiffany Amber Thiessen for Kelly Kapowski, Jesse. Yeah. So I remember that you watched Darkwing Duck too. Wasn't that part of
Yeah.
it? Yeah, the Tailspin stuff, because you had your own shows, and I was like, yeah, fuck those shows. I'm over those cartoons now.
They were all spin-offs of it. I think he was like the nephew of Ebenezer Scrooge or something.
You guys remember a lot of details. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I can't remember what I had for breakfast, but I can remember dumb shit like that.
I remember you guys had the theme song of James Bond Jr. memorized. I never got into that show.
Yeah, I forgot about that one.
So I was going to bring that one because I thought that was one of Nicholas's go-to. I don't even remember watching that show at all.
That was you guys.
But that doesn't mean we didn't watch it.
I can't remember shit.
I
about
do
that
remember, Nick, me and Brett had I think it was a 19-inch TV.
one. No, it was 13-inch. 13-inch.
Oh my gosh!
TV.
Wow.
Hell yeah. Because we lost the remote like 10 seconds after we got it for Christmas.
Yeah.
Never had it.
Come to think of it, did we lose the remote or was it taken from us? But anyway, I remember the morning cartoons for that. A big one too was Thundercat. That one was huge. I think we were a little before time than we caught up to it. No, so definitely Thundercats. No, that was one we would watch every morning. Regardless of if we've seen it 100 times, it was just a routine. That's what you did. So that was one I remember watching in the morning. One I remember in the afternoon that we watched over and over. I'm pretty sure we knew the theme song was Animaniacs. There was definitely different styles of them, but yeah, that was ones where I know we'd come home, throw our book bags on the ground because we didn't have anything else to do, and we'd just lay across the couch, just like in comatose, going through the shows, or it'd be like, an hour and a half, 2 hours, 3 hours, knock out those shows, and just lay there in silence, watching them.
Do you remember that there was like little adult jokes built into Animaniacs? That even back then,
I didn't realize it. Yeah, I didn't realize it until later. Now you watch it, you're like, oh man, there's so many adult, foreshadowing
there was
things.
one part where it was something about an opera or something like that, and he said he was a pianist, and the character was like, what? Pianist? And he gave like the camera some weird googly eyes.
Oink, oink.
Like, you say penis?
I am Ludwig von Beethoven, world famous composer and pianist.
You're a what?
A pianist.
Mwah! Good night, everybody.
Well, there's 10 and 12-year-olds watching this shit.
Yeah, they knew what they were doing. We definitely had a regiment of cartoons that we watched, regardless, every single day, no matter what. And then it was like after that ended, then real life started. But those were our babysitters.
When we got a little bit older, I mean, not super older. Remember Ren and Stimpy? It would come on like later.
That
in
was
the
MTV
evening.
back in the day.
That was kind of like the Adult Swim of cartoons before it turned into full Adult Swim, where it was a little bit more edgy and gross. And
we were definitely pre-teens, I would say, and we're watching it back and forth, and we're like, almost like, should we be watching this? This is pretty scandalous for a cartoon, especially for the things they would say and do. And we thought it was cool because it was on MTV.
Yeah, Nickelodeon. I remember it was like Nick at Night and stuff too.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Oh, the good old days.
Yeah.
Now you can watch anything on demand.
Yeah. Now, if you can't have it right away, not watching it. I can't remember any outside of what you guys have already said. I think I remember like Captain Nintendo was one. I wasn't big into that one.
How about the good old fucking gummy bears?
Gummy bears, bouncing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. They are the gummy bears.
Gummy bears bouncing here and there and everywhere.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was a catchy one too. That was like same as DuckTales time frame, I think.
Yeah, that was one that is time is kind of forgotten. You don't ever hear referenced at all until you bring it up like that, and then everybody knows part of the theme song, but not really much more than what we just said.
Classic. That was a really good one. I forgot all about that one. We could spend all day just talking about these cartoons.
Going with the theme of in demand, back in demand used to be going to the video store. In old Blockbuster.
Blockbuster video. Wow, what a difference.
Because I demanded a movie, but I had to go miles away to get to it. Yeah.
I mean, there was lots of different video stores, but Blockbuster the ones is always that comes to mind when you think of going to a video store. It was like Network Video. There was the one in West Palm Beach. Remember, it was like off the side of Winn-Dixie, or was it maybe that was Publix? Remember, it was off to the right. Yeah, it was small, and it was definitely your dime store version of a Blockbuster. Really ghetto. That's where you went for the good stuff.
They're almost like mom and pop ones where it was like the same guy or gal running the place. I remember there was ones that
and
were
the
like
tapes came in the clear case. Boom, not the Blockbuster case.
Yeah, I mean, rent video games too. Yeah.
They came through a couple times. I remember the anxiety of going into Blockbuster, like if a big movie had come out or a new game had come out, and you're like, oh my God, I hope they have it. And you get in there and you're like, God, son of a bitch. God damn, it came all the way up here. They don't have it. And then you always had that.
Yeah.
That hope
So what you
that-
would do is you sit there and first you go to the counter and you'd ask the individual working there to see if they'd give you a little bit of inside information, which is like, are any due back tonight? And they're like, well, you got a couple that are overdue. So what I would do is probably just hang out by that Dropbox window over there and maybe want to come. So you'd be walking around, but not getting too far. Because you want to be able to see if something drops in there. You can go running over there to it real quick. Like, what is it? What is it? What is it?
You don't want somebody to get in front of you.
No.
What are you returning, sir? What are you returning? You mind if I ask?
What do you got?
Like,
Did you
damn,
rewind
that's not Roger Rabbit. Shit.
Forrest Hump. What the hell?
That was the
Oh, yeah,
other.
that's
That was voice.
Oh, sorry. I just came back from behind those saloon doors back there. You were supposed to be back there, son. Try to catch a glimpse between those doors.
Yeah. The other, it was Blockbuster was nice and all, but as you got older and young adults, and it was still Blockbuster still a thing. I'd say you're into our early 20s. The worst part about going was actually picking one, especially when there wasn't that go-to movie. It felt like you would walk around there for hours just trying to pick something out, going up and down, looking at the same things over and over. Always secretly looking back to see if that one movie that you really were there for got dropped off. So Blockbuster was, it served its purpose back in the day, but at the same time, spent a lot of time there loitering around waiting for the right movie.
See, I'm looking for Lethal Weapon 3, and you got that Showgirls? Came out.
Yeah,
I really want to say Showgirl?
Or Basic Instinct.
Oh, yeah. I'm watching it for the plot. Yeah, no. It's NC-17. What are you talking about?
And they had the candy and the popcorn strategically placed that you had to go through this winding zigzag of popcorn and candy to get to the register. Remember that?
Yeah.
Marketing.
Sure. Absolutely.
Now, this is where the other store would come in handy. Sometimes when Blockbuster didn't have what we're looking for, we could go over to the other smaller one, and sometimes they'd have what you're looking for. You could get lucky.
Yeah, but don't forget there was some other things about Blockbuster that really grinded my gears. You had to rewind the movie. You get in trouble if you didn't rewind. Yeah, you get charged a little additional fee. And then also, if you had a late fee when you returned it. And if it had racked up, a lot of people are like, a late fee? What is a late fee? Well, no, sir, you still owe $13.86 from 3 years ago when you rented Jurassic Park, and we're not going to let you rent anything until you pay it off. I think at some point you would incur additional cost, or they'd say, nope, you're going to have to buy that now, or some crazy crap. Well, Blockbuster was fun, but man, they felt like a scam.
Yeah, I remember having one of those nights where it's like the movie you wanted wasn't there, and then you, like you said, you looked around for like an hour to find something, and you wind up settling, and then you go to check out, and then you learn that you got this $15 late fee on your account, and you're like, screw it. Wind up leaving with nothing.
Yeah, like, are you kidding me right now?
Yeah.
Well, and that was before that Blockbuster at one point didn't have games, and then I believe they brought in video games to rent as well, right? And you could get like a subscription or something as well. You could get games added to your part of your rentals and things of that nature. So that was a whole different ballgame as a kid when you're going there trying to rent a video game as well.
I remember one time that smaller video store next to the Publix. I don't remember where you guys were, but I was at home alone, and of course I couldn't have been more than 11, maybe 12. And I think NBA Jams had just come out, and of course we didn't have the money to buy it. But I called that rental place, and they said that they had one copy left, and they said they'd hold it for me. And I rode my bike by myself. It was like 5 miles, like all by myself. Can you imagine letting your 11, 12-year-old ride their bike 12 miles away across like these crazy busy roads down in West Palm Beach?
Jams? Yeah.
You get your ass out there and you get that fucking game.
I came through. I came home and you guys were like, "What? Get the fuck out of here!"
Like,
and
he
then you beat my
survived.
ass at basketball.
He's on fire. Let me lock you out of the house so we can play more. So I ran off real quick because I found this thing.
No.
Found this little site that recreates it, and I thought for shits and giggles I would get that. But not only is it just that, it has actual information from the Blockbuster video that we used to use.
Legit Blockbuster membership card.
Yeah. So look at that. It's laminated and everything. So yeah, I ran and went and found that. Got a reproduced one. I thought it was funny to have
That's pretty cool.
old Blockbuster video card around.
You should carry that around in your wallet, and then when you pay for things, you're like, oh, just put it down.
I'm gonna use this one day. They're gonna come back. They're gonna open these again. I know it's gonna happen.
I think there might still be one. Isn't there one like up in Oregon or
Alaska or some shit?
Yeah.
I think they did a documentary about it and everything. Yeah. So, but I remember kind of in that same world. That was also when the old internet was starting to take off, right?
The old interweb.
We didn't really have much. I don't think we had a family computer, but we did find, what was it called? That was, you could do something with dial-up, and it was a video game. What was it called?
Expand.
That was for what? Super Nintendo?
Yeah, it was for Super Nintendo, and I believe you plugged it into the back of the console, and you plugged it. It was basically a modem, is what it was. You plugged it into the game, and then you plugged it up to the phone line. And then down in the basement, we had our own. We had a cable to, the phone line, phone line in the house. So it was the same shared one. And we got the X-Band. And I think, I don't know how many games were actually part of it, but the one we had particularly was Killer Instinct. And so we thought this was going to be amazing. Like, you're telling me I can dial up all this number, make this, squeaky noise. Ding, ding, ding.
Very good.
And then you would hear it connect. And you'd be like, oh, we're live. Not knowing at the time, where we lived was outside of a major city. Closest one near us was Orlando. We were actually dialing long distance every time, just the connection call, right? And so to play somebody online, we had to dial long distance back when there was long distance was a thing. You had your regular phone bill and you had a long distance bill. And so we would play. And then we played Killer Instinct, which is the fighting game, Mortal Kombat kind of equivalent. We racked up some charges with that.
If I remember correctly, too, like, you couldn't talk to whoever you're playing. You didn't have headphones or something on. It would just connect, and then you start, I'm playing this little asshole from across town. And
40-year-old named Chuck.
They're about to lose, and all of a sudden the connection would drop. They disconnect so they didn't lose or something.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. We still thought it was the coolest thing because the internet was so new. It was the very beginning of it. It was really just a phone line tapping into a server to play a game. And for the most part, it worked. It wasn't perfect. You'd always get disconnected or lag real bad or something of that nature. But it was the first time I remember any type of messing with the internet or what the future would be. And I think that's when you started seeing a couple calm things come out.
Yeah, that was beginning of the multiplayer shit talking genre.
I remember it was way ahead of its time. Like I'm surprised that nobody's done a story on it. Like that was like the first of its kind that I know of, where like the online gaming through like a video game system. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like play against each other still didn't come around and get super big for like many years. Because what year was that? Probably what do you think? Like 95, 96?
Yeah, like that.
Yeah,
mid-90s. I remember when we got it thinking like, this thing, it's not going to work, whatever. That's crazy. You can play somebody somewhere else in the world. And I remember, like you said, Brett, you couldn't talk to them. You didn't have a headset, but there was a chat feature. It took forever to try to type something because you're having to use the controller and go to each letter. I don't think it was in QWERTY, like a keyboard. It was just ABC, and you had to like scroll to each thing. And I remember we talked to somebody one time just to see like where they were and everything, and thinking like, is this
like say a curse
is this
word?
really real, or are we still playing a computer? And they wrote back, and I was like, holy crap, this is real. This is pretty awesome. But then I remember that day we found out that the phone number that was being called was long distance, and I remember our dad being super pissed, like, who the hell has been calling this number?
Must be some mistake.
How could that be?
Who the hell called Chicago?
And the way I remember it was, we didn't know what he was talking about at first. Like, we were legit like, I haven't been calling that. Have you been calling that number? I haven't been calling that. And then we finally put 2 and 2 together, like, oh shit. That number it's been calling is not local.
Whoops.
And It was a lot. I remember. I think that was probably the last time we ever played it.
Yeah, I remember. Also, you'd finally get through, and then Dad would yell down, or get off the phone. I'm trying to use it, or disconnect because somebody picked it up. So it was kind of the same premises as dial-up internet and one landline, and somebody ruined it. So we had to start all over. It was a lot of work. It was ahead of its time for sure.
Yeah, it was a lot different when the only line of communication you could tie up with the internet. You had a choice, right? You either got on the internet or you had a phone line. I think that's how it was when I first got my first computer. I was in the Air Force by then, and I think we had the old computer in a box, the old Dell that I think a whole bunch of people got, with the cow prints in the box and everything. It showed up as one.
That was Gateway.
No, it was, yeah. But it'd show up in this, one, actually several boxes, like cost like $2,000, and you had to have a landline. And then your landline was tied up. Because people tried calling and they couldn't get through because you were on the internet. You were on AOL, Instant Messenger.
You've got mail.
That's right.
I just did that.
Yeah, so popular they made a movie out of it.
Our kids will never understand that.
So we don't spend too much time on it. Well, what video games do you remember playing? I think even at that same time frame, there was like Tech Mobile, Super Tech Mobile, those ones that were super popular. Mario Kart, those were ones that were good for us starting fights. I think I played.
Tech Mobile was pretty good too.
Yeah, for starting fights. It fucked up my underpants.
Don't you do it. Don't you turn it off, you son of a bitch.
Yeah. Punch in the back and run away.
Yeah. Resident Evil. That was, I think, first like role-playing game that, where it was drama, it was suspenseful. It's caused a whole franchise now. Resident Evil movies and everything else still going.
I remember turning off the lights in the basement, and that was on PlayStation when we got a PlayStation.
Original
and
PlayStation.
That was, you're using a CD game disc. I don't think you could call it a DVD type back then because it was still like a CD. And it was on that, so you had to be super careful with it, not to scratch it.
Right.
And then it would have that cinematographic cues and watch the cut movie scenes. And Resident Evil was scared the shit out of you.
Yeah, no, it had a good, intense, dramatic music and scenes, and you're like, oh, and would cut to that movie scene. You're like, oh, here we go, something's going down. I mean, like I said, we were late teens by then. So again, it was a whole new world. Anytime something was new, like even when Jurassic Park came out and they're using CGI for the first time, it was just mesmerizing. It was just different. So yeah, that was a pretty cool game.
Fast forward, so talking about CDs too. Do you remember the big thing about burning CDs?
Oh my God.
No,
it
it
was
was
so much time.
Man, I was like 99, 2000. I remember when CD burners came out, and I was just blown away. I was like, this can't be a thing where I can take a CD and I can take tracks and I can make like a cassette mixtape, but I can do it on CDs. I remember mixing like the best classic rock stuff with a bunch of, it wasn't so much classic rock back then, but it was like Metallica and Alice in Chains and a whole bunch of those heavy bangers. And I put like the best 10 to 12 songs on the CD, and I had buddies requesting like, hey, can I get a copy of that? Yeah, let me just put it in here, and in about 30 minutes I'm gonna give you a copy of this. And they're like, what, you can do that?
You would see where it was
30
blank,
minutes?
then you turn it over and you could see where everything was written. You're like, it's all there.
Yeah, it's pretty
And that was
crazy.
really when everything first started. That was the beginning of in demand and not having to wait for music.
That's
That was
when
when-
Napster came out at the exact same time, and that's when the file sharing stuff started. And it would take for fucking ever just to download one song, and hopefully that the connection didn't drop while you're trying to download, whatever song was out there that was new. And
Yeah.
that was
Well, and the CD burning thing just blew up, right? Everybody was going to get the DVRs, the DV pluses and minuses, and you had a big stack of them and everything. And then you had all these CDs and everything else, and you had the giant book that became too big to actually carry around anywhere.
still got it.
What you would do, right? Remember they came out with the slim CD changers you could put in your car? I, at the time, had a 93 Mustang Foxbox, and in the console, I'd made it wide enough to where I could take the slim CD changer, I think it was 6 CD changer, and slide it in there. And that way, my in demand, I could play, 6 CDs of burnt CDs of music on demand. It was pretty cool back in the day. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, absolutely. Completely obsolete. Because any song you can think of now, you can just grab it
can't
off
throw it
of
away.
Yeah,
can't throw
that's
that shit
true.
away.
It's a lot of money.
Gotta
It's a
keep
lot
it.
of money.
I think you
Well-
nailed it though. That was the beginning of like the in demand or the on demand, right?
Mhm.
Like because the CDs were our generation's version of the mixtape, right? But the previous generation that would make the mixtapes, they had to wait for the song to come on and then record it, right? And then they had
On the radio.
to cue it up and have it in the right place for the next song and like, oh, hit record. But for us, we had, Napster, and we can go and we can download that song and hope it made it all the way to 100%. Sometimes it'd get to like 98 and then it would air out. You're like, son of a bitch. But yeah, we could download the songs that we wanted and we can make our own mixtapes on the CDs and burn them for buddies. But yeah,
Well, even when people were making mixed tapes, they still had to
Mhm.
fast forward. They had to rewind.
Mhm.
We were at least at the point of just clicking a button. Next song. Next.
and
song,
then did you
next
ever
song.
get into the label maker?
Yeah. When I was first stationed in Korea, I remember us having CD burning parties, if you will. We'd all get together and we would share the CDs that we had, and we're like, "Oh, I want that," and then we'd make like 3 copies of that, and then we would take a picture, or we would scan it in the scanner and scan the picture of the CD, and then we would have labels, and then we would make bootleg labels of the actual CD and put it on there.
Nice.
I remember I had the little disc that had the stem in the middle, and you'd make your label, and you'd peel off the backing, and
Yeah.
you'd put it on the little base upside down, and you'd take your CD and slide it down on there, and then push it down, and that was like the final touches of the CD, and you turn it over, and you'd marvel at it, and then you'd be like, yes, I've made a brand new CD. I made this from scratch.
Yeah, you're like, I paid $1 for this.
And then we had to listen to Lars bitch and complain about how we were stealing their music.
Hey, Napster. Then you shut down Napster, switch it to LimeWire, get all your viruses, ruin all your shit, and start it over again.
Right, went through a lot of computers because of LimeWire.
Yeah, I must have at least 2 or 3 hard
Yeah.
drives back in the day. Yeah. So kind of sticking with that same realm, if you will, of technology. How about cell phones? Do you remember what your first cell phone was? I think mine was called a Star Trek, not Star Trek. It was like a little black flip open one. This was before you didn't text on this piece of shit, and it had like the little pull out antenna. Yeah, I remember. I got that little guy, and you had to worry about minutes.
Hello? Hello? Shit! Fucking phones, man. You get a call, they cut you off. You make a call, they cut you off. What's the point? I never
Don't you know what they're doing, kid? They fuck you with cell phones. That's what it is. They're fucking you with the cell phone. They love when you get cut off. You know why? Huh? You know why? Because when you call back, which they know you're gonna do, they charge you for that fucking first minute again at that high rate.
Whatever plan you were going to get, whatever you could afford. I got 500 minutes for, what was it, like the month? The whole damn month? That's how minutes were tracked right back then. Like, how the hell do you survive?
And then if you did good and you had a plan, I think it was a later evolving plan, you could have rollover minutes.
Oh my God, I was not part of that. I mean, I think your credit score had to be like 815 at least just to qualify for some rollover.
I think my
minutes.
first cell phone really was through Singular.
With a C.
Yeah, Singular, and the logo was like orange, and it was they sold the Nokia phones, and it would come with this weird looking waterproof case that you could put on it, and it was like wrapping in a plastic bag, and you'd use it, very bulky, put it on your belt, you have belt clip and everything. But yeah,
Man,
That
you
was
were
the
living
beginning.
large back then, man. Mustang, Fox body with a six disc CD changer, and the
Yeah.
cell phone with the mints rolling over with
With
a
its
fancy
holster.
belt clip.
God,
I would say that was what the early
all the bitches.
2000s. Yeah,
Remember, I think I had Alltel. And before all these companies got bought
Alltel.
up by the big ones right now.
They all eventually merged into what is like the top 3 or something.
Yeah, I had like the little gray one. That's when the phone started getting tiny, and it was like, and I was like talking on a damn paper clip. It was so small. It would flip open, but then they started adding some little color screens, and that's when I think texting started to become a thing. They're like,
Mhm.
what? You're texting? Oh, okay.
I think
sure.
the first big phone for texting was the Sidekick, where like you turn it over and it would
Keyboard pop out?
Yeah, you text on the Sidekick. It was a fad. I don't think it lasted very long.
Like I remember when texting first came out, you had to hit the number like a certain amount of times to get to the letter. So like I think 1 was empty, but 2 had ABC. So if you wanted to type the letter C, you had to press the number 2 3 times. And then wait a
I
second.
refused to get on board with texting for the longest time. I was like, nope, I don't text. I just call people.
You're like, this isn't gonna work. It's never gonna pick up.
Fad, yeah. Oh, everybody's texting? Okay.
Okay. Yeah. You said texting, right?
Yes, all the things.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that was later. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't get into that realm until the smartphones. Then you start sending a lot of different things.
I remember even when smartphones first came out, like when the iPhone came out, you couldn't send pictures still. It wasn't for a while before you could actually text photos.
I want to say one of the biggest revolutionary things that happened with cell phones was the Sprint push to talk Nextel. Remember that? Yeah, so I had that, and we used the heck out of it, and it was just a fancy walkie-talkie. That's all it
It was
was.
just that was another one of those. It was right there next to your holster type status symbol. People would hear that. Dang, yeah, that push to talk shit.
Dang, push to talk. That's pretty sweet. Oh, because you didn't use any minutes when you did that.
Mm.
Yeah, that was like the instant message of the day. Why everybody used it.
Okay, let's switch gears now. This one can span all over from when we were kids as 80s to even now, because everything seems to come back in style. Talking about fads of fashion, other little things like that. So I remember when we were in middle school, I think, a brand name of pants that was like way too rich for us.
I know what it is.
What do you think it is?
Z Cavarici.
Oh, shit. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't even know what they look like. We couldn't afford any of that.
Nope. I think I remember them being some like pleated type pants that people would roll them up at the bottom. I don't even know if you wore belts and shit with it. Because,
I'm kind of glad we couldn't afford those because we would have looked pretty dumb.
Yeah, I'm sure we did anyway. Our little parachute pants and shit.
Oh, we wore the same 3 pair of pants all year long. We wore holes in them, our soles fell off, and our backpacks ripped.
Well, you mean like middle school?
Yeah. We can go back to Kmart and get
Dad,
some
you can see
Voits
my
and
socks.
Spaldings. Yeah. Were you saying you ruined your socks? Oh, shit.
Yeah, my Spaldings got no grip. Your basketball, no, my shoes.
Well, let's go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and treat you right. We're going to get you on over to the Lady Foot Locker, and you pick out some nice, all right? Something nice for those little lady feet you got.
God damn. We didn't have anything named
Foot
brand
Locker,
growing
that's
up.
at the mall. I'll take it.
We didn't get anything named brand until we started buying it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I remember my first pair of nice shoes were the popular black low top Reeboks. They were black and white. That was my first pair of nice brand shoes that I bought myself.
Treat yourself.
That's right. I remember asking for I wanted the pumps. Everybody wanted the pumps back then. The Reebok pumps. And I got the Spalding.
I got
Pretty sure they
Schlumps.
I got some pretty sure they never worked.
Yeah, we didn't have any of that shit.
yeah, and I think the other weird fad that I think every time we looked around anywhere at school, it was definitely middle school and into high school, was the Simpson shirts everywhere.
I remember that middle school.
Bart
Because that was like
Simpson.
pushing the envelope. Because back then, everything wasn't so crude as it was. And as far as crude goes, I remember there was like protests and shit, and people watching that, and their kids are gonna watch this asshole Bart Simpson stuff. Oh my God, I wish that's all they watch now.
That and the Big Johnson shirts. Remember those?
They had a couple of those. Yeah. Party in the front. Yeah. I remember all the different.
Yeah, those were good. We never had one of those either. No.
See, what are some other things? Remember stuff like slap bracelets? I think I went and stole some of those. Those were too easy to steal. Everybody was collecting those one time, and all they were like 25-foot rulers cut up into foot chunks with a little bit of coating of some fabric or something over it. How that shit became a fad, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then those quickly got banned at school because everybody be playing with them. So if you get caught with
Smacking
them,
the shit out of each other.
That's right. Yeah, for sure. We didn't really see a lot of fads. We weren't a part of it, We saw the things that we wish we'd have, and we moved on. No, that was it.
Do you remember those little what are they called? The little pets that were the little digital pet thingies.
Oh, the Tamagotchis.
Tamagotchi, the original virtual reality pen. Your care determines the pets you get from Bandai.
You guys didn't have one?
No.
You had to take care of it, and you had to feed it, and you had to, walk it. Oh, it pooped. You gotta clean it up, Otherwise, it died of like poison poop.
Listen, Darren, give me the watch.
And then you take care of it. You do all that, and you put it down, and you come back, it's just dead. Had little X's and died while you're gone.
did everything I was supposed to do.
Yeah, those are pretty.
Yeah, you had the Pogs. I never truly understood
Oh my God,
that
those are
game.
weird.
Never had them.
Nope.
I think Pogs was just the bullies would always win because you just had your little collection of these thin things and then some heavy slammer thing. And then pretty much you would just throw this down like a pile of shit on top of some other thin ones. And then some asshole would be like, I just won. Oh, dang, you did? I don't even know how you won, but I'm taking
I'm
all
bigger
your
than
shit.
you.
Oh,
I won.
It's called
dang.
I won.
Yeah. Right, you won.
You
This guy's good.
deboed that shit.
Yeah, but your
It's my
slammer
Pog now.
was a tire.
My grandmama gave me that Pog.
Totally my Pogs.
Rode off on someone else's bike. But yeah, and then I think later when we talk about fads and things like that, like Beanie Babies. Beanie Babies were
God.
crazy.
They
I
ever
remember
go
there was this guy at work. We'll just call him Steve. I know his last name, but I'm not going to call him out. He was like a Beanie Baby drug dealer, right? He'd be like, I've got the Princess Diana, and it's going to be worth a lot of money. He would do the flea markets over here. They would go and they wheel and deal them and everything. And then all of a sudden the bottom fell out. And I think they made a movie about that as well.
They get
it was
stuck
just
with all the
absolutely
Beanie
ridiculous.
Babies?
Yeah, now they're worthless. As soon as that happened, he moved on to, I think it was like 9 megahertz phones, the handheld phones. You'd get the wireless phones, the landline in your house, the big giant pulled antenna out. You're like, oh, look at that. I don't have a corded phone. And he'd be selling those at work and coming in and be like, hey, yeah. He was, this guy was, he was the weird black market guy, Beanie Babies, cordless phones. Yeah. Old Steve.
Some babies and phones. What a weirdo.
I mean, I know there were other fads that I think we kind of partook in, like the rolling up of the jeans at the bottom. We did that a little bit. Bleaching the pants, cutting holes in the knees. We did that.
I don't think we cut the holes in the pants.
They eventually wore through, yeah.
we wore the holes through it.
And
We were just ahead of our time,
Yeah, but our holes had like grass stains attached to the edges of them. They weren't like stylish in any way. We literally wore the hell out of them until the knees gave out from playing in them, running around, diving.
I've learned now that I have kids that I guess it's customary to take your kids school shopping like before the beginning of each new school year.
What?
We didn't have
No.
that. I remember when my wife first told me about this, I was like, what? What do they need new clothes for? We just bought them new clothes like a couple years ago.
Yeah.
No, every year before school, they get new clothes. I guess it's a thing.
It's because we all had girls.
Yeah, high maintenance. All right, so let's take this opportunity to do a public service announcement. Go ahead and throw out there our socials. Trying to get them all up and going. We've got the Instagram, the Facebook, TikTok. We're putting the podcast on all the platforms. Patreon, Spotify, Apple, wherever you find your podcast, we're going to be
All
on
the
it.
things.
So we got the video versions out there, the audio version. So just, download it, listen to it, put us in your pocket, take us with you. And then, when you get done, and if you've got any suggestions, feedbacks, topics, things you want to hear about, things you're wondering about us, let us know.
Hit us up. Like, subscribe. Do it.
We're going to do this. We're going to keep doing it. We're going to stay consistent, and we're going to keep churning these out. Churn? Can
Yeah.
you say churn?
Sure can. I think so. I think we're going to have to end this. I'm going to go track down an X band. See if I can get it to work. I'm going to have to find a phone line too, though.
Let me know if you do. I'll go get one. We'll play each other.
Yeah. You got to find a landline. You got to get a landline first.
I'm
so you
going to
can play each other.
landline, get a long distance call.
What we want to do in future episodes, we're going to do music, we're going to do movies, and not just ones that generate, hey, here's my top 5. We're going to do ones that maybe can, generate memories, stuff where you were in your life, growing up, and then events that were going on in the world. And then we're going to drop mini episodes from time to time too, so that'll be bonus content that's out there, so you can get to know us, and we can just do an episode that might be something that's shorter, that runs through a topic real quick, that you can just kind of learn a little bit about us, or maybe even yourselves, who knows, right? We're going to keep at it. This is the Welcome Distraction Podcast, and we're just aiming to distract you for the day, for the hour, for however long you want to listen. We'll keep on doing it if you'll keep on listening. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. I'm Brett Kemp.
I'm Christopher.
Nick, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, guys.
Peace.
Later.